What's going on, guys? Just here to make a couple videos here. So I've been watching ANY. I've also been making posts about it. If anyone is in this or has been watching these videos and they were looking for updates, just look for Eric Taylor on TradingView. You might be able to find me. I post a lot of stuff. I don't get many likes on stuff. Occasionally I will, but it kind of lets me know if someone's if the market's actually really interested in it or not. I see a lot more likes on whatever it seems like people are really liking, like SHIB and other stuff like that, AMC, stuff like that. But anyway, so ANY, we've been going over this. One of the big things that I've been talking about on TradingView more often than in this recent video was that when we first had this rip, we came up and we got rejected right around this 835 area. That's where I got this long, kind of this upper potential resistance, which didn't really come in clutch for us. However, what did come in clutch was this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud converging line. So, there's some bullish and some bearish things, of course, in this price action that I'm starting to see. So this first time we came up, I didn't sell. I bought it at the 641. We ripped up. I didn't sell it, but I did notice we got rejection right here. I didn't notice until afterwards, and I made that in my video. So what I did on the next push-up was I paid attention to this same converging resistance. And I had it in my head, and I posted it on TradingView, that I had an idea that we might come to this converging resistance and get rejected. So I put a sell order for a majority of my shares in this area here, and I got them, mostly of them sold around 835 to 865 was where I took my profit. Now we've been rejected since there, technically 3 times now. Right here at the 870, right here as well, and then this last candle we had right here. Something interesting, however, now we've crossed that converging resistance line. This would mean that there's a couple different things that could happen. Now, if Bitcoin continues to push up and this thing does decide to be a Bitcoin play, which it definitely could be, this won't have that converging resistance anymore, which means it could absolutely blow up from here and hit this resistance we've been looking for. On the downside of things, we've now consolidated quite a bit here, but we created a lot of bearish divergence here as the price continued up. The RSI is continuing down, more bearish divergence, and that was what caused me to take my profits when I did. Now, I will look for another play if need be. I will look for another opening. Now, one thing I'm watching on this 3-hour time frame, well, we had this little bit of Ichimoku cloud support right here, and now it's flipped into some pretty red kind of resistance cloud area here, but we'll look at the daily and see what else we can find. I don't know how good of support that red stuff ends up being. If we look in the past, however, I know it continues, I know it acts as big resistance when you're in it, but once you break through, you get a very good power move. But I don't know if it continues to be the same as far as will it be support? That's what I'm kind of watching. And if so, then we will continue to hold the 773 area. Now for now, what I was kind of looking at on the chart patterns, I was kind of looking at this, like we have those, technically those 3 support touches there, and then we had our potential wicks all throughout this range here. Despite that one wick that we came up pretty high, we could almost make a case that this has been making some type of rising channel. So if this was a rising channel and we do actually see a breakdown, which is possible, and we do lose this 772, we wouldn't have any support till roughly, potentially, this area here. Now, one thing that I am still watching, and we talked about it quite a bit, I am watching this 745 to as low as 736. I'm watching this area like a hawk. This is my potential idea for the next move here. I will watch it very closely. I'll be keeping my eyes completely on that level. I even decided to put some buy orders down in this range. Now, this thing could turn around and completely confuse everyone and just take off with Bitcoin if Bitcoin continues. But unfortunately, I'm not that convinced that this thing's following Bitcoin that much, because if it was following it more than I expected, this would be already up in these $10, $12 ranges, if not higher, the way that Bitcoin's been reacting. So I'm trying to watch more so my different indicators, my intuition, all the price action, and just trying to relay it all into the charts and not sit here and go, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to 65K right now and this thing's going to rip. It's Bitcoin play. You know what I mean? I don't want to confuse myself. I don't want to bring emotions into this. I'm just strictly going off of this. Now, if it was emotion based, I wouldn't have sold 90% of my holdings at this level, because I, this whole time, have been expecting us to come up here. Now, of course, I could have just held and said, you know what, we're okay here anyway. We don't have to worry. I'm in a really good point. I'm fine. Especially for the fact that I'm talking about potentially picking up a few shares in this range with a stop loss below. The thing for me is that we do have some potential bearish divergence here. As we can see, price action is higher on the right, lower on the left, minus this wick here, which kind of makes it a little more confusing. And then here, higher on the right, lower on the left. Little bit of bearish divergence. I mean, it's hard to say for sure because of this huge wick that came up there that could have thrown everything off, and that may not count as bearish divergence. But that's the daily time frame, and it's not even confirmed anyway because the RSI hasn't even notched over yet. However, it is starting to roll over just a hair. So we can see we're starting to roll right here. But that's just not even really my concern, because one thing we've been talking about on this daily time frame is if we continued on this daily, moving over in a few days, what would we run into? Massive green Ichimoku cloud support. As long as that controls in this area as support, that will gear up for our next huge move. So for me to take the profits in this range, I feel like it's kind of a risk management thing here. I was very, very heavily invested right here, and now I'm seeing momentum kind of slow down, certain indicators calling for potential sell signals, and different things telling me that this might be a little bit of a profit-taking zone. So I wanted to be a part of that profit-taking zone, and I decided to take it. I'm a momentum trader. I'm not a long-term investor as far as with this trading account and these trades on this channel. I'll cut my losses if I'm starting to lose money, and I'll take my profits if I'm up a lot. So this was an area for me that looked very good. We bounced around in this range for quite a long time, but we just didn't have the strength. So how do you regain the strength? You have to come back down to support, reclaim it, and then take off. So what could we end up seeing from here? We could end up seeing the same descending triangle type pattern here. We could end up seeing some type of falling wedge. We could see something form. We don't have to come back down. We can open up in the morning and just say, you know what? This right here, this was enough correction that we've had right here. We're going to make a nice double bottom, and we're going to rip to the upside, and then potentially tap the top of this, what I'm looking at as could be a little bit of a rising wedge, and then we could just trade in here. But how would I play that if that was the case? Dude, you sold everything. What do you mean now you can't get back in? Of course I can get back in. There's always a chance to get back in. We can look at it like this. Just say this was our peak resistance, and if we break that and we hold above it, that's our entry. Yeah, I'll be buying higher, but the risk to reward buying above this range, if we held it, would be a lot greater, and it would be very fast momentum potentially to take us up to wherever I decide to potentially take profit. I'll be watching this for sure. versus me trying to buy in here or just holding in case this thing does break all the way back down before moving to the upside. I mean, you know, there's so many more possibilities right here while we sit here chopping around. This is where you go, I don't know. You know, this is kind of confusing. Are we going to break up? Are we going to break down? You know, and I don't want to sit here and just sit in my position and then lose gains that I made throughout this. You know, I like the price action that's just going like this. As soon as you start slowing down, that's when I'm like, all right, I think I did pretty well. You know, this was a very, very nice gain for me. I think I closed out with $600 profit. That was a very nice trade. So now I'm looking to do it again, but I'm not trying to rush in, and I don't want to FOMO, and I don't want to, you know, be misjudging anything here. So that's kind of where I'm at. This is just me looking at the chart right here. Like I said, this thing can definitely still control this main area here. And I do have this support right here at 773, and we could come back down here and grab this and bounce off it and shoot back up, make a double bottom, back to this resistance, and this could turn into some type of bull flag or something of the sort. But there's looking like we're getting a little bit weaker here. So that's just something that I'm keeping an eye on, and I am also still watching down in this range between the 760, 745, this kind of range here, because this would be that same support that we've touched here, 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 and if we came back down again to control it with maybe a fake wick below to that 745, somewhere in this range, or we just control this range, that might be the place to be setting some bids or just watching out for. As of right now, if we came straight down here on Monday, we would have pretty strong support at 750 and 746 and 758. So I mean, this is where you get into the buying the dip here potentially again. And if it's going to give us another buy the dip opportunity and it's going to bounce from here, that's going to be pretty good. So the amount of support that I see in this range is kind of making me not think we're going to just do that. I think we're going to come down and control it. So we do still want to watch this 773, because even if we don't come all the way back down, this did come in as a place. Buyer stepped in here, buyer stepped in here. Are the buyers going to step in again? That's going to be deciding whether or not this was a pattern breakdown or not, because if this right here was a pattern breakdown and this was a symmetrical triangle that's breaking down, let's just see, just for the hell of it, let's draw it out. Say that this was our symmetrical triangle. What would be the target of this? Would be probably pretty low. I mean, to be honest with you, that kind of looks like a decent size correction. What would that bring us to? Look at that. Can't make this stuff up, guys. That's a low target though. That's a 718. So I mean, if we did do that and we just didn't care about any of these lines that I've been kind of watching and drawing, what would that look like? It would still look like a very nice double bottom. So that's kind of things that you want to look out for. It would sketch me out a little bit, but I just put this line in here off this recent move. This main support, now that I look at it zoomed out, this main support of this whole trend that we've been really, I mean, this is the small, I'd say like secondary trend that we've been bouncing off of recently, which would land us right around that 745, 760, 746. But what's the main trend that we've been watching and bouncing off of? This trend right here. Touch here, touch here. I'm not going to mark them all out. You can see touch, touch, touch. So which trend line is that? That's this one. Let's make it blue. No, that doesn't look good. Let's make it pink. That's the level that we want to see hold. I mean, like I've went over in many videos, I want to see this hold here, 744, really badly. And I believe there was a reason for that 744. There was a few reasons. and it had to do with this. Look at the weekly. What happens every time we wick above this level? We closed a weekly above. The following week, we dumped. All the way back down to where? 569. So what did we just do? We closed our weekly above. Can we open a flat bottom candle above 744? What's another idea if we don't go by that? What else didn't we close candle bodies above? We have a wick up to this line, 760.73. So the first week we had a wick up to this line, right? I'm going to just go through it. I know this is a long video, but I'm just going to go through it. The first week, wick up to this yellow line, 564. Wick up. Couldn't close a candle body, couldn't close a candle body. Then what? Closed a candle body. So what did we do after that? We started holding this level as support. Support, support. We were wicking up to this yellow line, 745. A little bit above, but we could never close a candle body above what? This line right here, 676. This week, we closed a weekly candle above 744. So, there's a couple between these two lines here. I know it's kind of confusing because I'm confusing myself a little bit as I'm really analyzing this thing because I'm out of my position. I need to find a new one. And these are the type of things that go through in my head, so I am just rambling. And I hope you guys are enjoying this. And if this is too much, then it is what it is. So this right here is where we closed our weekly above, 745. So the question is, are we going to have to control this level? Whoops. Are we going to have to control this 745 before I move up? Or are we going to have to come back down and confirm this next lower area as support before I move up? And that would be 676. Those are the two things to watch, in my opinion. And I'm not going to get too much more into it, but my two levels, my level 676 and 744. I'm more interested in 745, but I'll be okay with a 676. If I can rebuy at 676, that'll be a God's gift, in my opinion, because that means I sold this top, potential short-term top. It comes back down, consolidates between these two areas, and then rips up. But I do like that Ichimoku cloud, though. So that's the only reason I'm saying 745 could be that area, because, it goes as low as 663. But if we did have a nice, mean candle, boom, tap this, come back up, reject, and start holding this level as support, that's what I want to see. So I'll try to make another video because I don't want to make this any longer. I've talked about the same thing over and over, but that's just what I'm looking at. 745 is my favorite level. If that gets lost, it is what it is. I'll get stopped out because I will put a stop loss somewhere. I don't know where yet. I'll have to figure it out. But this is my level I think we're going to hold, and I think we're going to go sideways on it. And I think we're going to continue to follow this red resistance, actually this red support line that I have drawn. And I think that's what's going to hold us up, is the cloud and this long-term resistance support. And that's going to lead us to the upside. So if you guys found any helpful tips in here, let me know. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know. Did you guys take profits? Did you guys get in this? Are you holding this? What's your position size? What's your average entry price? Let me know in the comments below, and I appreciate your time watching this. Peace.